Hello there, folks. Do you remember this character from Father Ted?
Who's got the most boring voice?
What?
Of the lot of us, who's got the most boring voice?
That'll be me, Ted. Listen, I have an awful dreary, monotonous voice, God help me.
Yes.
Well, we have found ourselves a new candidate for the most boring voice in the room. And it comes in the form of this guy. Yes, the Conservative MP for the Don Valley, Nick Fletcher. Unfortunately for my good friends here on this channel, I'm going to make you sit through this agonising 6.5-minute speech, which you'd be forgiven for thinking is being spoken at Boris Johnson's funeral. But it was actually being spoken at the debate prior to the vote on the outcome of the report from the Privileges Committee on Boris Johnson's misleading of Parliament. However, the upper right section of the Conservative benches appears to be where most of the Johnson sycophants gather, and there is most certainly an atmosphere of mourning amongst them, as they seem to be aware they are staring down the barrel of electoral oblivion. Aside from being extremely dull, this is a mind-boggling speech, neck-deep in the delusion we have come to expect from the class of 2019 Tories. I do have a couple of shout-outs to make before I play this speech, however. Firstly, I'd like to thank the entire rainforest that was chopped down to provide the mountain of paper required to write this ridiculous speech. And I'd also like to thank myself for being such a brave boy for sitting through this wretched thing 4 times. Enjoy.
Nick Fletcher.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. In 2019, Boris Johnson won a majority no one expected. And what was most important about that majority is it broke the shackles of socialism in the North for the first time. And whether it had been me or another Conservative, the fact that Doncaster got a new voice, someone to call out the neglect that has been allowed to take hold in my town, should never be forgotten. We should be eternally grateful to the right honourable gentleman for that. Now, we all know why we are here today, but we should remember the right honourable gentleman broke the deadlock of Brexit, started to undo the decades of North-South divide, and started to put right the consequences of austerity. Yes, coalition austerity, but caused by the inept economic policies of the opposition.
That's right.
He vaccinated country faster than any other, saved thousands of households and businesses from certain bankruptcy. And when Russia invaded Ukraine, was the first to offer his support.
That's right.
We must also remember he is a human too. In addition to running the country, he dealt with the highs and lows that this life brings. During COVID, he nearly died. He got married, he lost his mum, and had a child. No, I will not. And all this under the media spotlight, with a 3-day camping trip for a break. Now, the report says that he misled the House. The question is the committee right that he did it deliberately, and is the punishment fair? And this is where I struggle. There are some good people who sat on that committee. The honourable member from Warrington South is someone I am pleased to call a friend. Yeah. But I have to say, I think these committees are set up to fail before they start. Why? Let me use a football analogy. If Man City's star player had to sit in front of 7 of his peers for a hearing, how fair would it be if 3 of the committee were Man United players? Not very. No matter how honourable, the opportunity to take out the opposition's star player, I think it would just be too much. I think if we are going to use MPs as committee members, which I think we should, who else knows what this job is like, then they must be of the same party. We must select Labour members for Labour MPs hearing and Conservative members for Conservative MPs hearing. Many may say, well, they will always find them not guilty. But that's not what happened here. And lay members could still sit on that committee. Now, I want to speak to our constituents, the ones that didn't break the rules. I know some did, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. And we set these rules in this place, so we should always try our best to lead by example. But I want the public to know that most in this place did. The right honourable gentleman paid a fine that I would have challenged. A piece of cake in the Cabinet Office is hardly a party.
He was advised not to.
And let's remind ourselves that this is the only fixed penalty he received after a previous inquiry.
Well, my honourable friend, forgive me. Does my honourable friend realise that actually he was advised by advisors not to challenge that fixed penalty notice?
Thank my honourable friend for that intervention. No, I didn't know that, and I think it's good that that's on record and the House does. The report looked at 6 events and produced photos and concluded they were in breach, but were not the events seen in the most recent videos. Parties have happened, and stronger leadership may have prevented these, but the right honourable gentleman wasn't at these parties. I've seen the video this weekend of the others partying, but the right honourable gentleman wasn't there. But I can see the hurt that it has caused, and I know people feel wronged and want justice. I know people lost loved ones. I did too. But the storing up of hate for these people won't bring our loved ones back. So I ask for their own sake, somehow we need to find it in our hearts to move on. The right honourable gentleman has lost the top job. He has now resigned his post as a Member of Parliament. Trust me, he has paid the price. As for the young people in the video, they should have known better, and they really don't deserve to be honoured. But I cannot ask the public to forgive and not do so myself. So I do. But I ask them to learn from these errors, or life is going to be tough for them and everyone around them. The video was posted by media. A media whose only intention is to sell papers. Don't be tricked, anybody. They are bastions of free press, but not always for the right reason. So I say to the press, do the job by all means, but think of the implications. I ask them to use their power wisely. Now I come to today. If I vote for this report, my haters will love me for 5 minutes and then hate me again. If I vote against, the ones who have lost loved ones will think I don't care, and I desperately do. If I abstain, I please no one. But I'm not here to please. I'm here to do what I think is right, and therefore I will vote against this report today. I will vote against it because I think the process is flawed. I will vote against it because pleasing the opposition won't bring back the loved ones for my constituents. I will vote against it because the right honourable gentleman has already left, so the vote, in some cases, is already futile. I will vote against because I think the right honourable gentleman has been punished enough. I will abstain because I will vote against because if I ask the people to forgive, then so must I. I will vote against because this country has had enough, and so have I. But I finish by asking the right honourable gentleman, if he cares about our country and his party as much as I think he does, he will back our Prime Minister, our party, and help get this country back on track. This country and its people have suffered enough through COVID, and it's time to move on. And a decade of the opposition will be terrible.
Maria Eagle.
So after that, to cheer us all up, I think it's only fair we go back to this guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, could you please bring your purchases to the checkout as the store is about to close? Hurry up. Come on. Hurry up, will you?
Not that way, for feck's sake. The other way.
Cheers for watching, folks. Take care of yourselves.